they start stepping forward. They are actually the guardians of this tree of wisdom. And they connect with the beings that come to it for guidance. And as you connect with them, what is it that they wish to share with you today?
It's time to stand still. The time of separation is no longer a part of this monumental shift that is happening within humanity. We are still creating separation inside of our heads, our thoughts,
Yeah.
and this isn't serving us. And they're showing me these beautiful rocks in Castle Hill. And when you're getting me to join them, these are the beings that are joined. And this may sound impossible for many to hear this, but the rocks have moved. It is as if they got up and they came to greet me as much as I went to greet them. And they are all beings, Julie, we know this. And this, the words they want me to use, is a testimonial time. We are all being tested. Many will feel it in their testes. Many will feel it in their pubic bones. Many will feel it in their knees. Many will feel it in their kidneys. Yet these are all part of the upgrades. There's so much transformation. And they're showing me meteor showers.
Yes.
You know, massive, like I, it's almost like it's too blind. They're coming fast and quick and into the is it the stratosphere or the atmosphere of the earth? You know, when you see a rocket coming down and you see that
Yes.
beautiful blue around the earth, these meteors are coming, and some of them are connecting with that beautiful protection is the word they're giving me. That wonderful blue light, that ray of light that we see around the earth,
Yes.
the protection. And they're saying that we mustn't be frightened of this message today. This message is a powerful one. Yet they know, and it's fascinating. I'm sitting hanging out with the rocks, and the rocks are moving them. I want to say their mouths, but they're chatting to me. The energy of the rocks is chatting to me. And they're saying everything has a vibrational imprint.
Mm.
Everything has a frequency, which we know, which is what you and I have been discussing.
Yes.
And they're now taking me to Stonehenge. And they're taking me to, there's another massive rock that's been carved into a face. I can see this face,
Is it just one face alone, or are there many faces?
one face alone.
And is it a male or female or a being? What does it look like?
It's a male,
Yeah.
and it has a really beautiful, it's interesting because it's rough on one side but smooth on the other side, and it's turning round and round, but I can still see the face as it's turning round and round.
Mm.
And I've been shown that this is very much a symbolistic time for this wake up, shake up that we've been waiting for, that we've been wanting. So this rock is, again, the face comes, and they're showing me that when it turns around, again, there's a smooth side to it, and then there's a rough side,
Just like humans.
just like humans. Yet, what they want us to know is that a part of this great wake up, shake up, is exactly the information that was delivered a long time ago to many of us. And this time of now is this massive awakening. Many more will wake up this year. Many more will be brought down to their knees for to be the change. And again, it's huge, 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 huge. We know how massive these rocks are in Castle Hill, and it's double the size of that. And they're saying, do you remember when we drove into Castle Hill and we saw those spaceships, you and I, in the
Yes.
clouds? And the galactics are waiting and hanging out for us for this time of reckoning, this time of reconciliation
At Castle Hill?
at Castle Hill specifically.
Yes.
Now there's no timelines in
Yeah.
spirit. Everything's in the now.
Mm.
So they're saying for aesthetic purposes and for people to grasp the message today, they're putting me in a spaceship and they're flying me across to Venezuela.
Mm. What's happening there?
They're waiting for you to ask. Thank you. Many of the lords, the drug lords, will be coming down, will be held to ransom. There's too many dictators that live in these lands of Venezuela, Colombia. They're showing me America, Russia, Africa. They're showing me a map of the whole of the South America.
Yeah.
Again, too much corruption, too much crime. But it is the war capital of the world.
Mm.
And many are either going to nod in agreement or be gasping. And many of us as humans have entertained this, yet they do not realize the devastating effects that many are in slavery in these parts of the world. And they're saying this is part again of this rock formation, not only in Castle Hill, but this massive big being that I'm seeing that's rough and smooth, smooth and rough. And they're saying, do not be fooled by what we have been shown. The truth is setting us free.
Okay, so they're basically saying to you that things are going to get exposed, particularly in those areas, and it might be shocking for some. But maybe is that why you're showing us that being with literally two faces?
It has one face, but a very long, pointy nose and deep inset eyes and sort of half a smile, like that kind of smile.
Mm.
Almost like the Joker. You know the Joker in Batman?
Yeah, that kind of smile.
Yes.
But when you say one side is smooth and one side is rough, that's what I mean by two faces.
Yes, okay. Two of the rock faces. Yes, okay. So I'm asking them what it means.
Mm.
Are we choosing the smooth or are we choosing the rough? They're saying it's as simple as when we're sanding something, do we take fine sandpaper or we take rough sandpaper? Yet the symbolism again of what they're showing me is about the duality that we've lived in, which has created separation for far too long. And this is where again this being is turning, and I only see the head. I don't see the rest of the body. But it turns and I see the face, and then I see the back, and then I see the face, and then I see the back. And they're saying it's going to feel like we are spinning out of control.
Right.
And the spinning out of control is where the deep, 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 deep energy lies within the crust of the earth. And this is part of the exposure. This is part of what needs to be exposed, what needs to come into the light. And many of us are going to have aha moments, and many of us are going to be enraged. Because the rage has been where we have had our blinkers on. Not only because of these last few years, but for a very, 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 very long time. They're showing me at least 3 generations of humans who have been over 100 years old. And they've taken me back again to this beautiful being. And now, you know when you look at a piece of granite and it's smoothed over, and you want to touch it, that's what it's, and then it might have sparkly bits in it. Like they're showing me specifically black granite with beautiful, you know, the shells that we have here in New Zealand, those power shells, and it's got that greeny blue effect when you hold it in the light.
Yeah, the abalone, people will know it as. Yep.
That's what these speckles are. And they're saying that this is where the change is happening out in the ethers, yet deep in the core of the earth. So we have to brace ourselves. We have to find people that will support us. We have to find time to ground. We have to find time to be in nature. There's massive shifts, and I'm seeing
It's okay, sweetheart.
I'm seeing the swastika. It's the time of change. And they say, and I'm just seeing black right now, and they're saying that they're showing this to me because it will feel like those times already. People are speaking about the Holocaust in Israel and Palestine, and this is another Holocaust that's happening. They say many of us are feeling this intensity, and we keep wondering why the powers that be do not stop what we know is completely around greed and control. And they're saying that this message was so important today because many are feeling wobbly, many are feeling if they want to be on this earth or not. And they're saying that those that are of us that are here, it is so important to find, even if it's one person that we connect with, even if it's one person that we reach out to and say, I don't know what's going on today, but I just need to hear your voice. And they're saying, you've had that experience and so have I. And they're not saying for one moment that these are dire times. Yet these times of rapid transformation are very necessary to bring this whole new light way of being. And they're saying, look at my hands. Do you see how one connection brings one connection? And they're saying that even within ourselves, this is how strong we are as human beings. So please do not look at these times as dire or devastating. Those that are leaving the planet know that this is the energetic shift that is reformulating. This is what's happening right now. Can you see my hands, Jill?
Mm.
Everything's been shook up. We know this. We've been shown this. But the earth is doing this with these meteor showers that are coming. And it's creating
Pressure.
pressure and seems like we may feel dizzy. We'll feel pressure when you walk into, when you walk into like an aeroplane or the plane's coming down and you're doing this with your ears
Mm.
or your ears feel blocked.
Mm.
Feel that, and we'll feel as if we'll have pins and needles in our hands and feet.
Is that when the meteorites are coming or another
Yes,
time with
this is
that?
when meteorites are coming, and these showers are very important for the graphical change, the geographical change that is forming. So they're showing me the contraction and expansion of Earth that's going on. And they're saying that, in spirit, they do not use the words sorry, because this is a time of us being empowered in our unity, in our strength.
Mm.
And again, just reach out to one person. And when you think of that person, pick up the phone or send them a message, because that creates the unity. Just like, remember I said to you, there were a lot of people around the tree, that massive big tree of light.
And let's give the image to the audience about the tree that we connected with, which is that tree of wisdom from the movie The Avatar, so that they can see that in front of them. How do you, sorry to interrupt you, but how could you let them connect with that tree of wisdom themselves? What steps would you give them?
Right now, those watching, the tree is asking for everyone to put one hand on their hearts and one hand either up or out in front. And the tree is emitting waves. And they're asking me to be quiet so everyone can feel the energy coming through them. It's peaceful, it's calm, and it's very subtle waves. Very subtle. And in these subtle waves is where we are feeling these majestic and magnetic shifts. Stillness is key. silence is key. They're saying like you switched off your phone yesterday to do your things that you needed to do. This is so important for us, for this unity. And this tree is massive. I said earlier on, it looked like there were 200 to 300 people around it to give a visual. But there's millions of people around it holding hands. Our unity, our consciousness of unity is happening. Everything that we explored in our time in Egypt, they say, everything that we had seen is happening. The light is shining through the cracks of the darkness. So they're showing me as if you had a telescope and you're looking and looking and looking and looking, and many people are looking and looking and looking and looking and looking and looking, and they don't know who to trust. They don't know which messages are true, which messages are right, which messages they can truly believe in. And they're saying, just take time, as if we're looking through binoculars. And this is about trusting our truth, trusting ourselves, trusting our knowing. Humanity is shifting quicker than the blink of an eye. So time to have fun, drink more water. And they're saying that this is a message that's been delivered many times over. And eat less so that we can upgrade. And supplementation is key. What are we supplementing to help the vibration of our cells create more harmonious stillness? They're saying, can they talk about disease, Jill?
Yes, please.
So when one is in dis-ease, they are like a duck paddling on the water. They look graceful on top, but yet they are not. And they're saying that this is what's happening with our vibrational shift. We are feeling uneasy. And when we take time out from everything, when we rest, not even reading a book, they're saying it's really, really, really important for us to take 5 to 10 minutes out a day to just expand into our breath, to consciously drink water. How many of us consciously drink water? We gulp it down. We drink out of the plastic bottles. The very plastic bottles that are creating and emitting massive toxins. And they're saying the time is to stop judging one another, as I did earlier on. And this is part of the ripple of the change. And they're saying that in the space of this dis-ease, this uneasiness that we're all feeling, the more we take time out from just, they're saying pretty much everything, technology, everything, to even just to lie on a couch, to sit in the sun, and just become consciously aware of touch. How many of us do not touch one another anymore? Because just in case they are sick. They're saying, isn't it fascinating? You know, when babies are premature and you have the kangaroo parenting, where they put skin to skin, heart to heart, if the baby's not too fragile.
Mm.
The baby thrives.
From human touch.
Correct.
So what happens to those people who are the alone dwellers that do not have a relationship with one other person, like a husband or a wife or a partner or a lover, and their parents live far away? How do they get that human touch?
They touch themselves, they hug themselves.
Okay,
It's that simple.
right.
And they're saying that those that have isolated themselves, many have felt in fear. Many prefer being on their own because there were too many hurts, too many past pains
Mm.
from people within their family or their friends. So they would rather be on their own because they've learned to distrust others.
Mm.
And this is their path.
Okay.
But yes, touch, even if they put oil on or cream, coconut oil, touch and say thank you to the body. Thank you to this massive organism that exists on this planet, that breathes, that expands and contracts. So many of us are learning the simple way of life, the simple way of being. And you and I know that we are getting rid of the clutter, the clutter.
Boy, and there's a lot of that to get rid of.
They're saying, but it's the clutter of the mind,
Yeah.
the clutter of the non trusting of our worth, which equates to this. They're saying, you know, which conversation we had earlier on,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
it's our worth.
So it's all connected, isn't it? It's just the deeper you go, the more you realize that absolutely every little thing, every thought is connected. And that's how then those thoughts connect to the body parts. And then
Correct.
the body parts start aching, but that's because the thoughts were aching. Is that right?
100% correct. Well, the thoughts and the vibrational body, remember, we're a body. And they're saying, like, as right now, I can feel every single cell tingling. You
Mm.
and I are so in unity together, even when you mentioned, even before you mentioned, and they're saying this is the strength of what happens when humans see one another, when humans are worthy of being in the presence of one another. So many of us have felt that we are not worthy of being in each other's presence. So
Mm.
you were leading me down to relax, which I had relaxed. And as you had said, feel my cells, my I was already in it. I already felt my cells tingling and my
Mm.
cells were talking, and then you said it. And they're saying that this is how quick the rapid transformation happens. The body feels it, and then the words are expressed.
Mm.
The body is always in this flow, always contraction, expansion, contraction. Yet when we have been deeply wounded by others, or even as they're saying, and they're laughing at me and they're saying, Michelle, when I was triggered earlier on, I went into a contraction. I wanted to protect myself.
Mm.
And they're saying that there is no protection. It's just an old thought formation. Yet, in the worthiness of who we all are, those that vibrate at a level of being worthy in their worthwhile space, they then see another person who is as valuable, who is as worthwhile. And they're saying, would you and I spend the amount of time talking, even though even though our husbands roll their eyes and get they butt into our conversations? They're saying, would we value each other if we didn't value each other?
Mm.
No, we wouldn't. We wouldn't want to spend the time together. They're saying, so when one sees another one's value, you see all the lines, the intricate lines of the person, and you see the space of who the person is. Yet if we don't value each other, we'll be like this. And what they mean by this is we don't see each other in the fullness of who we are. So when one is not valuing another one, they are not valuing themselves.
That's exactly what I was going to say. How do you value somebody else if you don't value yourself first?
Absolutely. So they're saying that we collectively, in our unity, in our triangle, have stepped into a new mathematical equation.
Mm.
So it feels uncomfortable. So I unraveled, you held calm, you unraveled, Shihira unraveled. We all had our, and they're saying, do not attach to the unraveling. They're giving this as an expression of this new equation that we have now aligned into. They're saying this is all written in our Merkaba. This is all in our records. As the as the record keeper, you know this, Jill.
Mm.
And they're saying that, are you going to be playing small? This is your sign. No more.
Yeah, like a stop sign. Yep.
Hand is exactly. They're saying thank you for recognizing that. Thank you, but no thank you. Do you see how easy it is to shift the energy? Thank you, but no thank you. Because as we say thank you, no thank you, we are saying to ourselves, I am worthy. I am worthy. They're saying that this alignment happens. Listen to the way they said this. Happens. Happens. If you were to take those hands that have all the pins in them, you know, there's a,
Oh, that you get a form if you push them into the pins.
yes, you,
Yeah.
yes. They're saying this is happening. It's a pin, it's a formation, it's already happening.
Mm.
And as you will only see within the hand that has all those pins that creates a form, it's exactly as we stitch. They're saying that when you sew a garment, many may have an eye to just sew, but many may have to pin it first in order to get it equal.
Mm.
Remember, everything is a new equation, Jill.
Look, that's great. So what do we let people know to help them on their journey when they're not feeling that worth, their worth? How do we help them step into their worth to start themselves seeing more of who they are as others see them?
Look in the mirror, look in a mirror, and start by acknowledging. Even look into your hand and start by acknowledging all the wisdom. All these lines hold wisdom, do they not?
Mm.
A baby comes in soft and glowy, normally, 90% of the time, and the skin is soft. And a baby will have a few lines, soft little feet, soft skin, cute little toes, cute little hands, soft. And then as we start to grow, we start to receive more wisdom. So in the not knowing, just look into our hands. In the not knowing, just look into the mirror and love every line, love every droop, love every wrinkle, love every part of our bodies. How often do we ever stop to love our nails for growing? We don't have to tell our nails to grow. How do How do we even look at ourselves without really looking at ourselves? And they're saying, look how they've got me to touch my face and touch my hands. Even in that, we glow. We are like glow worms. But how are we meant to glow when we don't know our worth? Just look. Look in the mirror and start by saying, I see you. I see you. And you are looking back at you. But many of us don't like to look in the mirror because of our wrinkles, because of our necks, because of us aging. And yet we do not accept that this is a very real time of transformation. It's a time of wisdom. Babies come out wise. They know their worth. They've got no issues in telling us as mothers or fathers when they are hungry, when they are wet, when they are tired. And yet most times we as parents like to tell them to be quiet or put a dummy in them just in case they create a disruption. And this is what we are all here to work on, is how we have been feeling disrupted for far too long. No more time for disruptions. No more time for distractions. And when we become silent in our prayers, in our space of time, we only then start to see the reflection of God.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for that. I think that's really going to help many. The other evening, I was just as I was falling asleep, I started thinking about my body parts and thinking, do I have a favorite one? And then I started laughing because I realized that, yes, I love to chat, but I couldn't chat if my vocal cords weren't working. I couldn't chat if my lips didn't move up and down. I couldn't chat without my jawbone, without the fascia holding it all together. And the more I thought, and the air that's coming from my lungs to push out the vocals. And then I realized actually every body part is a favorite because they're working together as one unit. And that when lost, did I actually thank the individual units for the cohesion of allowing me to express myself. So yeah, once again, absolutely totally on par. So, this beautiful New Zealand retreat and workshop that we're putting on, where they're going to be at Castle Hill. So earlier you spoke about it and opening a portal and an activation there. How is that going to affect the attendees?
There are many portals in this land. And yes, we will open up one specific one. As you felt the activation in Egypt, in the pyramid, this is connected directly to Orion and the 12th dimension, the Christ consciousness. These people that are here to be aligned into their knowing of their validation that they are not who they think they are. They have been misled by their own thought processes and their generational misleadings or misguidings. So this activation is where on a DNA, within their DNA, there will be a new way of being. Do you remember how we said to you before that you are the light that we're going to Egypt to be activated?
Yeah.
And you're taking your lights all across the world.
Yes.
The same with everyone that is here for this activation. And then the rest of the week that you are coming into a true union, a body. And this is part of this massive big statue that we were showing Michelle. It's a new union, a new formation. Every time a new group is formed, you create a new union, a new way of being. And with all these groups that are forming around the world, there is a strong connection, there is a strong bond, there is a strong sense of knowing. And in this strong sense of knowing, you only see one another in a space of love and compassion and kindness. And this is what Castle Hill is bringing to those arriving. There will be moments of unsureness. Yet again, many timelines will be felt. Many timelines, you humans call them past lives, but many timelines will be felt in this activation, in this period. Some may feel as if they are unraveling, yet the three of you together will know what to do and who and whom will be needing the processing. Does this make sense, Jill?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
So you're all bringing individual strengths, which is what we know you said to Michelle last week when she was unraveling. You showed her the triangle has equal parts. Hence, sacred geometry has equal parts. Hence, everything is spiraling. And there are many different spirals that are creating many different mathematical equations that are creating many different rapid transformations, just like a tornado.
Yeah, that's exactly what I saw, like a cyclone. Yeah. And then, of course, once a cyclone's gone through, you've got to rebuild.
Correct. So this is also part of the light coming through the earth. There are many rapid transformations, many re-equations that are happening.
Yes.
Truth, the real way of being, where humans will see one another, really see one another, not for their color, creed, culture, religions, upbringings, different kinds of hair, different color hair, different color eyes. You will see one another for the truth and the worthiness of who you truly are.
So it's really digging deeply into the essence and knowing that beauty of the sweet spot of humanity.
The sweet spot of humanity is exactly where the starting point of what has been described, which is Castle Hill. It is a
What?
starting point. It is a shifting. And as the shifts take place within the DNA, within the cells. Many will receive downloads. Many will receive light codes, different coding to be the upgrade.
So can I ask you a question?
Please go ahead.
Okay, this is just something that's come to me now. I had a profound experience at Castle Hill. I also had an experience that was so unusual for me at Machu Picchu. And I had another one like that at Adam's Calendar. And I've just realized all of those places were stones. Oh, you see the pyramids in Egypt, again, stone, stone and stone and stone. So what is it about the stones and the stone structures that create this for us or bring it out?
They hold worth. They hold worth. They hold wealth. And over and above all, they hold memory. Vibration holds memory. Are you aware of this?
Well, I would imagine so if it's encoded in a part of our DNA, which is always vibrating.
And how many cells do you have in your body, Jill?
I don't know, more than a few.
Trillions. Trillions. So we have said this before, when the land is calling, there is a cellular connection. Think of it as picking up a cell phone and dialing. You think of the person, you receive a telepathic knowing or message, and you pick up the person, or you pick up your phone and you text the person or you phone the person, do you not?
Yes.
So at all these activations, at all these sacred sites, these sacred lands, there is a memory, and you are bringing the memory back into your soul's alignment.
Mm.
Hence you call it an activation, do you not?
Okay, so it's an activation is an alignment or an
To,
opening into
yes,
a new alignment.
yes, except you specifically go into judgment of yourself. Yet, have you ever watched shamans?
Yes.
They are in tune with whatever shows up in the moment.
Mm.
They do not judge, they receive. They are conductors. As all these stones are conductors, as you are a conductor, Michelle is a conductor. You are all conductors of light, are you not?
Well, yes, if you say it like that, yes, it makes absolute sense.
And did you not come back from Peru and be very, very sick?
Yes, I did.
So you had to let go of the old way of being, the way
Oh,
you could not store, the way you saw yourself in your unworthiness.
okay.
You validated everybody else, and may we say that you are still connecting into this vibration every now and again. When one sees oneself in lack, one pushes it over, pushes it over, pushes it over. You had seen yourself, undervalued yourself for far too long, carried, stored too much within your DNA, within
Mm.
your cells. It was by no mistake, as you initially thought, that there was a connection between you and Michelle. It was by no mistake that you had received the message from your father prior going overseas. Do you see how the alignment already happens? And we are
Yeah.
showing Michelle right now in the matrix. It is, think of it as a spider web from this point to this point, and then there's a globule of water.
Mm.
And then the spider builds and builds, and then there's globules of water. This is how the memory is stored in the body, within the fascia, within the organs, within every single cell. And the cell, and the cell, and the cell, and the cell, and the soul, and the soul, and the soul, and the soul is interconnected as the globules of water are. So you receive the downloads, you receive the information, you receive the very moment of who you once were, Jill.
Mhm.
So it is about the value that you are bringing into the world. And when you undervalue yourself, the rocks shift you. You cannot even stop it, even if you try.
Rock and roll, rock and roll.
And the rocks do that. They hold the vibration of exactly that. They will rock you up, and then you will roll into a different way of being.
Yeah.
Or not.
Well, the last time it was fascinating that those rocks started actually speaking to me. I thought I was imagining it, and something inside me made me lean forward and put my right hand on the first rock, and it started pulsing through me and said, "It's time for our release." And then I went to the left and did it on that one as well. And that was a different code. And it also said, "It's time for our release." And we later found out that those were literally beings in stone. So it's actually fascinating and exciting and intriguing all in one.
And so it is. All the above. When one is excited, the land calls. When the land is calling, know that it is time for a vibrational shift to happen for you, not to you, for you. So as you allow the vibrational shift, the gunk has to be released out of your cells,
Yeah.
or released out of your cells, or released out of yourselves.
Yeah.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. So good. So good.
Blame
So
the land. You blame the land. You humans are so funny. If you can find someone to blame or judge, that is the quickest escape that you always go for.
yes, because then we don't have to look at ourselves.
Correct. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the finest of us all? You are. You are. You are.
Okay. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. I mean, connecting with this tree, this beautiful avatar tree and all the beings today has just been delicious. So have you got any last words for us as we finish off?
Resurface. Clear the frustration. We are rubbing Michelle's nose as when one is frustrated, they touch their noses, they rub their noses. Someone gets up your nose, you have this statement. It's time to become clear. And when humans become clear, they take care of this temple, of this body of light, not in the way that you think is true for you. So many of you are extreme. You either flick one switch or you flick the other switch. It is simple. Do you flick the light on, switch the light on? Do you switch it off? When the light is switched on, when your body, your vessel is switched on, you encourage it, do you not? With good food, enough water, supplementing. Listen, it is a vessel that knows exactly what it needs, when it needs it. So we see this wonderful explosion of light that is happening in the stars for humanity in this monumental shift. Many, Jill, please know this, are intrigued by this offering of your new triangle. Earth Masters is a significant signature that is already impacted in sacred geometry. It is impacted. It is written in the rocks, in the stones. Do you remember how Michelle had a monumental shift in the pyramids?
Oh, huge.
Do you remember how she did not know what was going on with her thighs?
Yes, I said it's like she's giving birth.
Correct. And that is exactly what has happened for humanity. There is a new earth that is being birthed. Yet humans are the ones that are doing the work for the rebirthing process to happen. So rebirth yourselves. Do not stop for one moment to think that you are not worthy of becoming different, being different, speaking truth. Michelle early on was talking to her husband and she asked if she could bring forth the Council of Eight. And in Michelle's openness, or as you humans would say, sensitivity, able to feel vibration, is sensitive to vibration. She could feel he was in his head, talking very short, very quick, asking questions to the council. Bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it, happen, it must happen now. And then he had a momental shift inside of himself as they were delivering information to him that he didn't like. So he had to reshift gears, and he softened into himself. He thinks he's softened for the council to recognize him. Yet spirit recognized you all. So he softened into himself. And as he softened into himself, he saw his worth.
Mm.
And what we are saying is when you soften into yourself, you see your worth. You see you in the way that we see you. And then there is no judgment. There are no triggers to be had. And others value in the way that we value you. Even when it comes to the energy of money. You are all valuable.
So do we keep on getting triggered because of lack of value of self?
Correct. And when one says to oneself, I am worthy, do you not find it interesting how many of these wonderful mentors, gurus that have been around for a long time are very in alignment? Please notice how we say this, in alignment with charging their worth. Do you see how we said that? Charging their worth.
Mm.
When they charge their worth, others are worthy. Do you
Oh,
see
so
how
they're teaching, okay, so they're teaching them you can step up and you can be this worth as well,
their
as
worth?
an example.
Yes. So when you see your worth, you see your worth.
So you see yourself.
The reflection is correct. The reflection is there. It is about the other human, yet it is not about the other human. The human brings the reflection to bring the trigger, and the vibration shifts in that moment. It shifts gears. The frequency is held out there. The frequency is a note that is held. Think of it like an opera singer, Jill. An opera singer can hold a note, can they not?
Yes.
They can shed a glass, they can break a glass from one high note. So when the frequency is high, there are times, there are moments when you are not valuing yourselves, that you will bring a frequency that is low. And that frequency will lower your vibration to see if you match. And if you do not match, there will be a trigger. And the trigger will be in a different formation, a different human being. So you may not have been seeing yourself in that moment as being triggered. Yet there was a trigger within Michelle purely because there was a misalignment. So when one says, I value myself in all parts of who I am and I am worthy, you bring others who see you in exactly the same vibration.
Okay, so that's what it means when they say you teach other people how to treat you.
Correct. And you are here to have fun on earth and here to learn. And the learning is, I am worthy. And when one sees themselves in the worthiness of who they are, this aligns. Does this make sense?
Yes, and it'll bring you could when they see their worth, they will bring all the wealth and the wisdom in.
Yes, there is no questioning. There is no questioning in terms of, think of the word discount. Do you count or don't you count?
Oh, okay. That's a new way to look at it. Very good.
When you discount, you are dis-easy. Do you see?
Mm, mm,
Again, you are not seeing your worth. You
mm.
are uneasy. So, yes, offer the upfront discount. Yet, are you ready to be counted? Are you ready to be valued? Are you ready to stand in your truth and know exactly? You know this, Jill. You have been told this many, 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 many times by Spirit and your
Yeah,
team.
take a while, okay? I take a while. Good things take time, guys.
We say, luckily, that you are evolving, and luckily that you only leave this physical form, yet you are always in the light. So, no more discounting yourself, Jill. As when you do not see yourself in the fullness, Michelle does not see herself in the fullness, there will be a reflection that will be shown universally to you very quickly
As a reminder. Yeah.
as a reminder.
And
Correct.
that's so wonderful to share with so many people, because how many people feel discounted in life?
Correct. And not valued and not
Yes.
seen.
Yes. And can I share something with somebody? Well, not somebody, with everybody. I had the most beautiful experience of a gentleman visiting me, and he was saying, why is it that people don't see me? Am I invisible? Am I a ghost? And he'd been quite depressed. So his literal vibration was low. And they gave me the most beautiful guidance, you guys, when you said, you gave me the vision of a house in darkness in a street. And I said to him, you've got a pilot light inside you. Imagine it, just imagine it's in your heart, but it's on low. I said, it's like that house in the street with the lights off. People who know you, they're going to drive past because the lights are out. They're not going to come and knock on the door and say, hey, we're just popping in for a visit, because literally they think there's nobody at home or the people have gone to bed. And I said, that's just like you. You have the ability to power up that light, your pilot light. You've got to get that flame higher. And when you do that and turn your light on, that's when you raise your vibration. And then people see that there's somebody at home. And he said, wow, that's so simple. That makes such sense to me. Of course, that's what I was doing. I was making myself invisible, he said. It wasn't that I was invisible. I said, correct, it's a choice. Every single minute of every moment, every second is a choice. What do you choose? So I've decided I'm choosing the bright light.
And choose you, choose your worth.
Yes. So I'm looking forward to this. I think this is great. I've really enjoyed this conversation today and appreciate everything. Thank you so much.
We are appreciative for all that you are bringing to the world. We are appreciative that you and Michelle take the time to listen to the messages that are being received. And we are appreciative for all of you humans who are doing so much work, providing a difference for humanity. Thank you.
Thank you. Who are we talking to today?
Source.
Source. Thank you so much. And then in a moment, could you do the usual? You know exactly the stretching and the yawning and the welcoming back and the welcoming back.
Let me just take that off. Where you there? Oops, sorry. Sure, Jilly. That was
How is
beautiful.
that for you, this spontaneous let's do a little hypnosis session?
Actually, you talk about spontaneous. When Brent and I were brainstorming today, um, for myself and how I'm moving ahead, I said to him, "You cannot take away my spontaneity, okay? Like, please." Like, he's like, "Huh?" I'm like, "Jill and I, we have spontaneous." And he's like, "Okay, don't worry." I loved it. It was really. I do remember. Uh, sure, it's so fascinating. When things come into our space, it always amazes me. I haven't watched anything around. Um, as for those of you who know, my brother lives in Israel, his family, and we haven't touched base for a good few weeks now. But I ended up watching something on YouTube, Julie, about a woman who was captured, an Israeli woman, and I thought, wow, I'm so intrigued by this. And she's been interviewed and sharing part of her story as to what happened last year on the 7th of October. And it's so interesting because she used the word Holocaust, and I was like, whoa, I never thought of it like that. But when I saw what I saw earlier on, and I remember crying, I thought, shit, of course. If you think of it, it's a very different way of doing things in comparison to what happened in Germany with the Nazis. But this is similar. And I'm not here to take anybody's side at all, because for me, war never makes sense, ever. Nobody ever walks away out of a war with
A
feeling happy,
smile on their faces, yeah.
you know. Um, but it's interesting that it came into my space, and I was quite intrigued by this woman's story, which normally I kind of shy away from that because I'm like, no, 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 I don't want to know, which is part of just sometimes how I am, it hurts me too much, and the devastation and the shit that's going on. But the upliftment after that made such sense. And what I saw I mean, literally, I saw it when you were getting me to go down the road, or the path. I literally saw the rocks pick up and they were walking towards me. It was fascinating. I was like it's kind of like they sort of picked themselves. They were picking up parts of themselves, and they had their cracks in that, and they were like tick tick tick. And do you remember in Castle Hill we saw those faces in the rocks? Do you remember?
Yes, but even one of the little girls, as I went to one of the rocks, she looked like about 4 or 5 years old with little cupid lips. And she started looking at me, and I actually, from out of nowhere, started crying. And I said to her, it's okay, it's okay. I'm back, almost like mommy's home. It's okay, mom's here, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And in my head, I'm going, are you insane? You're talking to a rock.
I know, but we're talking to temples, and the temples hold memory. So that's one thing I learned in hi bun. Yeah, 5 minutes.
In Egypt.
Thank you. In Egypt was you cannot make this stuff up.
I know, look at Sekhmet, the whole statue that started moving for me. And even putting her eyes down and chatting, it was like, wow. And unless you experience it yourself, you and I can talk and talk, but you got to be there to put yourself into that position of experiencing something like that, right?
Exactly, and that's. I even remember that in Castle Hill where I was trying to see if I can find some of the photos, but
I mean, look at the Dalai Lama, okay, with all that wisdom and experience and whatever, him saying that Castle Hill, when he went there, he called it the spiritual
center of
point
the universe.
of the universe because of the spiritual experience that he had there as well. So
Yes.
that's that like vortex, like that energy. Well,
But
they told me it's a quantum field.
yes, but do you remember? I mean, that was the starting point. I mean, you often have said to me, "I wished you'd recorded it," but remember, I still said, "I don't know why, guys. I've got a chant." I just remember kept getting this. I got a chant, and then what came through me, I freaking was blown away.
Yeah.
And I don't have a natural singing voice. I it
That voice, that tone was so ancient and so tribal. It was, I mean, it was beautiful.
Absolutely, but also at the same time, all the different messages that we were receiving, and I'm just trying to see if I can find so people can see what the one where you can see the faces and the rocks. Um, oh, but that's what I was going to share with you is we all went our different directions. And remember, Rebecca was speaking to you, and I took limestone, and I was just being guided to do this on the rock. And I took
Yeah.
a photo. I took a photo of it, and then we found out that people had been beheaded. Remember?
Because when that happened, when I went up there and I just felt the absolute urge to get Alba onto
Right, you
the
did.
video. And those two rocks had just said to me they need to be released. And then as I was going around very quietly with her, because there was one other person there, but far away, but just out of respect. And suddenly she said, oh, my throat, something's got my throat,
That's
you
right.
know, and the rock that I was videoing her, showing her was a long rock with a slice right through, which would have been the neck area of the rock. And then that night, when we all met each other, suddenly everybody said, oh my gosh, Joe, something's happened with Joe. Jill, say, do something. And in my mind, I'm going, what could I do? And then suddenly out of my mouth came, she's jumping timelines. In other words, she's going back. And that's what you said during this session about timelines. So
Wow.
she was going back to a timeline when she was arriving as one of those rocks in the being. You then said, let's create noise. And that's when you started chanting, because that changed the vibration, that changed the energy.
That
And
is
that's what brought herself back to herself from that timeline. And then
wow.
the very next day, when Alba hypnotized me, it's Queens of Castle Hill.
It's on YouTube, eh? On
Yes,
Alba.
that was the story of Castle Hill. And then it spoke about us being as ancient beings, as original seeds on the earth in the birthplace of the gods of Castle Hill. And then the dark force arrived and everybody started turning to rock to protect themselves. But Joe, thinking that she was this ethereal being of light, extended her hand. And that's when they went juk with like a big laser beam and took her throat.
That's right. And remember she couldn't speak, and
Yes,
we were trying to interpret.
yes. And she said, oh, my throat, my throat. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
No, what year did we go, Julie? I'm just looking at my phone, and for the life of me, I can't find it. It was a prior to COVID that we went.
Yes, I think it was 2019, was it?
Was it 2019 already that we
I
went?
think something like that.
For the life of me, I can't. Hold on, I'll
Yeah.
go. Because this is just fascinating that we remember all of this. Remember, because it's just like,
I'll put a picture maybe, or if you grab a picture for our thumbnail,
yeah,
because those faces are incredible. And they've also got the Horus rock there as well, which was so
really.
amazing. I mean, the faces there, the beings, they look quite different, don't they? Those big, incredible. You got to be there to feel it.
I know, and
And
just
and the footprint. Remember the footprint I
yes,
saw
yes,
right in the rock. So
yes.
Michael Tellinger in Africa has got the big footprints. I've got the baby footprint of the giants that were there, right in the rock.
Wow, that's fascinating, eh?
I know.
When I'm going through my photos now, guys, what I was saying I was listening to something that Jill and I did on the 19th of July 2022, and I found your photo when I was going through trying to look for Castle Rock. I found that photo with Ra behind you on the 18th of July.
Another rock.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, another
I
statue.
highly recommend. I was listening to it. I just got shown. Listen to Tutankhamun. It's on Jill's YouTube. The Great Leveler, light codes. That's Jill's put pictures of the pyramid. And that information, I mean, that's 2022. I was
With
on
the
that
leylands.
with the
Ley lines.
ley
Yeah.
lines. Yes,
And
exactly.
don't forget that this ley line at Castle Hill is phenomenal.
Yes,
Very, very strong.
yeah. Just a lot of information that happened then has come into fruition last year. But that was actually, I was like, oh my God. And yeah, I saw you, and I'm not going to show it until we're done because I just want your permission first.
But do you also remember how somebody thought they'd taken a photograph of a bird, and when they had it, when they went back and found it, it was actually a spaceship. Do you remember that? Trying to think who
At
it was
Castle
that did
Hill.
that. Yes. Do you remember?
I remember taking photos when we were driving because I could see the spaceships in the sky. And I don't remember talking to anybody else except you and saying, did you see those spaceships above the rocks? Because remember, we had 3 seasons, 4 seasons in basically 2.5 days. We saw the light and the dark, and it was it
And
was
then even the snow when we were leaving. Yeah.
I know, right? Rainbows, remember rainbows and singing
Huge.
and rain and just so much change. Hey, it was incredible. I'm looking so forward to going back again. So forward. So join us, guys. Join us, join us, join us. And in March this year, it's an exciting time to be alive, and there's a lot of amazing energy there. But
Sure,
yeah,
it's wrong.
is it
Yeah.
Queens of Castle Hill? That's the other one to go
I
and
think it
look.
was called Queens of Castle Hill on Alba's playlist
Awesome.
or on her YouTube, Queens of Castle Hill. I don't even know what number it is or whatever. But that was incredible because I had been given a vision before we went to Castle Hill. And I
Wow.
heard this voice going, hello, in this like whirl, which with all the galaxies. And then under hypnosis, I was coming through the galaxy, through this river of light of the Milky Way as these celestial beings landed. And then when I was at Castle Hill, I heard, hello. And I thought, am I going insane? I just heard that 2 nights ago. It
Wow.
actually woke me up in my dream. And it was actually a little boy with his parents at Castle Hill. And maybe the resonance from the rocks and everything. And he was shouting to his mom and dad, hello.
Wow.
I know. It's just
I've just
incredible. It
found it.
just, wow.
Okay, so that's what I drew, and that's what Jill was explaining about with the beheading and and I was just being shown to, and then I was told to draw angel wings, but I want to show them the one with the faces, Jilly.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's probably.
But it's so, you know what, it reminds me almost of Montana with the big open sky country. And then suddenly you've got these rocks. Those rocks should never be there.
I know, but look at this. Can you see that? Is there too much
No,
light?
you can't really see. It looks just like a big rock with a hole in it.
Okay, but look at this. I'm showing the sky behind.
Oh, yeah, the sky's, oh, it almost looks like a face in the sky.
Yeah, and this was, oh, there we go. There, can you see the faces in there lying down?
Yes, yes, lying down. Wow, look at them. So many of them.
Now we had that black sky, can you remember behind us?
Yes.
The opposite side was sunshine. That's what blew me away in this. I mean, this is the opposite side.
Yeah.
It was incredible. The dark behind us and then the light in front of us. So symbolic, eh?
Yes.
Sure.
Like the face, the rough and the smooth.
Yeah. But these, I mean, I think that's one of the rocks that you spoke about that had the imprint, hey?
No, that has got an imprint, but no, not the same. This was
All
inside,
around.
with like a coliseum, and where they've got the initiation stone right in the middle for all the ancient rites. Initiation stone that I was shown, how they used to go there, and the woman of the clan would get initiated into becoming a woman and wise. And then they took me and they said, go to, because I said, tell me your story. And they said, go to the left, keep walking. And then they showed me this one thing. And I said, what is that? And they said, it's our signature, like our fingerprint as such. So I took a photograph and they said, okay, turn right. And as I turned right, they said, stop. And then I looked, and in my head, I'm going, that looks like a footprint. Don't be ridiculous. There's no way it can be a footprint. And then I started counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, making sure they're 5 toes, because that's exactly what it looked like, a toe. And the rock had come up. And that's exactly what Michael Tellinger had said. his rock as well from the plate tectonics had gone up. And people were going, some skeptics, yeah, right. He then got a telephone call from the Department of Anthropology in the Wits University in Johannesburg and said, you better come and pay us a visit. And he went to see them, and they pulled out of the vaults this enormous thigh bone. And they said, this thigh bone will match the size of that foot. Yeah, they've got this giant's foot. And under hypnosis, under the Queens of Castle Hill, they told me that that footprint was the baby footprint. So like a toddler or something. And it was big, man. That footprint was big. And it was up just like his. So it must be from plate tectonics.
Wow.
So I find it quite intriguing that if I had never been lying on that initiation rock, connecting with the rock, which is now the memory, etc., I wouldn't have had that conversation of taking that point of stillness and the connection. I wouldn't have known about, I would have most probably walked straight past that rock and not even seen those footprints because my mind would have been elsewhere.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, here's this probably is it shows you more, hey, how they
Yes, look at that face. Holy heck. Looks
and
like a man with a big nose.
yeah, and these
Very
rocks
masculine. Look at the face in the back.
completely, hey.
Yes,
And these rocks are not small, hey?
a huge.
Not small at all. Wow, I thought I saw some lights when I was looking at that in the background. I don't know if it took about some people saw spaceships. Oh my God, it was a lot, hey? There was just an incredible amount of change.
But what I also loved was meeting all those people that we'd never met before. There were 26 of us sitting around chatting over dinner
I
and
know.
introducing ourselves to each other.
Amazing.
It was so nice to share that with them, hey? And they all had different experiences.
Completely, hey?
Yeah.
It's incredible. Yeah. So, guys, if you're aligning with all of this and you feel the calling, please come and join us. Please go to earthmasters.net and you can sign up there. We've got 2 days of Castle Hill. Then we're driving through to Jill's beautiful hometown in Wanaka, all in our separate cars. And then, well, we'll all obviously taxi or whatever. And then we have 2 days of a workshop in Wanaka, the beautiful
And then another workshop.
And then so Castle Hills activation, then we've got a 2 day workshop in Wanaka, and then we have a free day, and then we've got a mediumship workshop where we'll be teaching to become a medium.
Yes.
So it's a wonderful jam-packed week of togetherness, connection. It's going to be freaking awesome. I know we're going to laugh a lot, we're going to have lots of fun, we're going to cry a lot. I mean, I'm involved. There's always tears when I'm involved. They might be laughing tears, but hey, either way. And we're just going to have lots of fun. So please go and sign up earthmasters.net. We are so excited about this new collaboration. Hey.
Yes, it's so fabulous. And then you're going to get to meet Shihira as well. So woohoo!
Absolutely.
So thanks so much, Mish. That was so much fun.
Yeah, that was really. How was it for you, by the way? I forgot to
No,
ask.
I liked it. I would say this is a session where I was like really listening to everything and going, oh, yes, yes, no, wow, wow. There were a lot of fantastic aha moments for me.
I feel like I want to listen back to it again as well because
Yeah,
yeah, it feels like it was really pertinent to a lot of us, which is
I
awesome.
think so.
So thanks
Yeah.
for putting it together. Thanks,
And
Jenny.
now I better go because I got to go and walk my dog.
Yes, guys, have a beautiful day. We love you. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for subscribing, sharing, being here with us, and obviously all the love. Hey, that's
All
the
the love, the aroha.
aroha. Yeah, thank you.
Aroha.
Yeah, we
Thanks,
love.
guys.
Bye.
And now I've got to put this on stop. There we go. Stop. Stop recording. I have to put my glasses for that. Cheers, guys.